Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we talk about problems people face in their day-to-day lives. Let's start with a video.
Married to a classic mama's boy here, so you all must have understood what actually went down. We married 6 months ago, and due to restrictions of traveling and me being a frontline worker, we had to postpone our honeymoon to last month. When the situation got better and I was able to have 2 weeks off because I've been working all the time. And when I say this, I mean it, and I have been working all the time for this stupid viruses. I love what I do, but you know, too much of everything becomes boring and starts making you feel suffocated. I finally got 2 weeks of vacation for myself, and due to that, we decided that we need to take this chance to fill up for all the postponed flights and everything. My husband also had a party that would be organized by his company, but in their other branch in between of that. But the place we decided and the party's venue was the same. And you know how important parties are for entrepreneurs, for networking. So it was all fine with me because I would be more than ready to do any wifey things for him because we haven't got any time because of this virus situation. I would be always working at the hospital and he would be busy with business. And at one point we saw each other twice a week? So you can now understand how in touch and in time starved we both would be. Everything to the trip was set. The hotel, the flight, and every reservation for the week was made, so later we wouldn't face any difficulties. Here is where I made a mistake. So I was talking to my sister-in-law and told her every bit of our plan, everything, where we were going to stay, our flight timings, and everything without missing a single piece of our schedule. And as we can guess, she snitched on me and told everything to my mother-in-law, and the last person on earth whom I wanted to have all this information with. She's not a mean or toxic person like how mother-in-laws generally are in these types of posts, but as she made it to this forum, she has issues. She is so freaking clingy and just tries to make my husband all about her. She's just obsessed with my husband and can't accept the fact that he is a freaking all-grown man who doesn't need this crap done by his mother. He doesn't need her like a baby, and she just can't get past that thing and accept that he is all grown up and is married to me, and the other fact that I, as his wife, have more rights over him than her. She has this mindset where she wants my husband to treat her and me equally. If I get things on any special day, she too needs to get gifts. That's why we don't celebrate any personal days with family anymore. Nor do I post about any crap of us doing things in a grand way. Because once, when she saw that my husband, when he was my boyfriend, covered the whole house with roses and got me a designer bag, she threw snarky remarks the whole evening at the party about how her son is completely into my evil magic and crap, and only does this kind of thing for me. First of all, that had a really bad effect on me. I don't care if I sound like the bad guy here, but no way in hell someone will ever treat their mother with covering the whole house with red roses and throw a grand party with a romantic vibe. It's just creepy sometimes how she behaves with my husband. And when I talked about this thing with my husband, he too said that he sometimes feels uncomfortable, but didn't want to look like a creep, so kept his thoughts in, and ever since, we've done everything in private and kept as much distance from her as possible. After she knew that we were taking the trip and everything, she literally showed up at the airport at the same time and started talking about how a weird coincidence it was for us to bump into each other, travel in the same flight and go to the same destination, and also stay at the same hotel. The whole time I was giving her the bitch, you can't be serious type of look, and I could feel her avoiding the stares. My husband just laughed it off, but I could feel him being awkward with the whole thing. Like, which guy would want his mama with him when he's going on his honeymoon? She legit was being clingy to us the whole time. Like we were in a group and we couldn't kick her out because the same old, my fault, I thought I was important gaslighting would come up. We bared her till we go inside her plane. Our tickets were business class and hers were economy, so thank God she wouldn't sit with us or bore us out. At least I thought that. She started throwing tantrums about how she feels suffocated in the economy and wanted me to exchange with her like at this point she couldn't be serious. My husband and I worked hard to get to this place. I ain't giving up my hard earned luxury to someone else who is completely ruining my peace of mind at this point. I ignored her, and my husband asked the air hostess to explain it to her that she can't do that. So after a whole argument, she was taken to her place, and we relaxed a bit. We reached the airport, our destination, and somehow managed to outrun her and get into our booked car that would take us to our hotel. And at this point, we had completely lost her and felt so much better about it. Finally, we reached our hotel and we just started having some time together. After freshening up, we hear someone banging our door. We had the don't disturb tag, so no way any staff can knock. So it's either the FBI or my mother-in-law. I would have been happier if it was the FBI instead, but let's face it, it's real life and she's getting on my nerves. Not only has she booked a place that she can't afford, but has the audacity of knocking at my room door and asking me to pay for her room. I was ready to pack my things and go home, but my husband calmed me down by assuring that he would do something about his mother and tell her not to disturb us any more. My husband went out and told her we were not in a decent position to let her in, so she would need to wait outside, and she still wanted to have a peek in. Like, bro, what's wrong with her? She needs to understand we do personal stuff that she can't see and know about, and when my husband started snapping, she started being defensive and telling me she just wanted a break to get out of the house to find an escape from the lockdown and all. My husband asked her to get to the point that she needed some money. My husband handed her over $500 bill, and she asked for more, but my husband gave her a no look and closed the door, something he should have done before. Look, there's a reason why he is this patient with her. Her husband, Akka, my husband's dad, was an abuser, and when he left her, she did everything to keep him going in life, and she had no one in her life and grew to be clingy to my husband because I hope you all understand what I'm talking about. So disowning her would just make her devastated and all her trauma would resurface, and we don't want to be a reason for that. The whole week, she just went on being clingy and doing crap with us. We are just trying to get as much time as possible and keep our thing going one more week. And we're out. We have decided we would be setting strong boundaries and break this cycle of obsession that she has with my man. The trip's second week has come to an end and we are flying back a day early because I don't know how to explain my mother-in-law's behavior. She has acted to the truest form of toxic that she was avoiding till date. She not only kept on taking money from us, but also ruined our finances to the ground. Okay, so first of all, she kept on taking a lot of money from us. When we refused, she took the company's card that my husband has and shopped crap like designer bags and hats worth at least $3,000. And that will definitely mess up our credit. I was one step away from calling the cops on her, and we wanted to return those things, but guess what? Non-refundable. Then the worst thing ever happened. She showed up at the branch party, all dressed up in a very over-the-appropriate way, and started creating mess after getting drunk. That had to be the most embarrassing thing ever that happened to me, honestly. I had to skip the rest of the party and come back to the hotel with her while she was cussing me out and crap because, whatever, we are returning now and we need to find a solution for this. My husband is so mad at her for everything she did, and it's up to him what decision he takes. And I will have to agree because I don't really care anymore. I just need to get whatever money she took from me back, as she claims she left her money in the room as she was rushing for the flight. So, yeah, that's all. So I know this has been almost a month since I made the last update, but I haven't been able to update because I had to get back to work immediately as the cases are rising. So, yeah, that's an issue. I got vaccinated today. I took my second dose. So I got off from work earlier to rest as the vaccine did give me a little bit of a headache. So I took this time to make an update. My husband has made it clear he would want no more relationship with his mother other than visiting her during the holidays. She was devastated, of course, but she invited this upon herself, and I can't blame anyone else. She returned us our money because my husband told me that he would cut her off completely, but still she is still as good as disowned. So yeah, that's what happened in short. Now I can freely post what I want to and not worry about that getting me into awkward situations. And yes, like some of you suspected, I am indeed a black woman. LOL. Maybe my way of talking gave it up. Just 3 words. Cut her off. Don't tell me she thought she dressed up like Beyonce, because that would have been hilarious. It may sound harsh if you don't have context. I'm a 39-year-old male and have custody of my daughter, Rose, 9, female, for only a portion of the time. I pick her up every other Friday after school and drop her off at school the next Monday. My ex-wife has her the majority of the time. I want to say that Rose has been diagnosed with ADHD. Being a parent with a disabled child is so much harder than having a normal child. I've made many sacrifices for Rose. I still have to monitor her as if she's 5 and have to make sure that she doesn't watch TV unless her homework's done. She also is a bad listener, and I have to have extreme patience when dealing with her. I also have to split costs with my ex to pay for a math tutor for Rose because she rarely focuses in class. Last week, I had to pick her up and take her to the grocery store because we needed dinner supplies. I was listing off the dinner ingredients and couldn't remember one. Rose suggested the one I forgot, and I told her that was it. She puffed out her chest and said, "No need to thank me," in a very arrogant way. We were at a red light, so I turned to her and sternly asked, "Rose, what did you say?" She mumbled out, "Never mind." I firmly explained to her that that is extremely inconsiderate and disrespectful. I don't owe you anything. I don't have to do half the stuff I do for you. So you need to really think about the way you talk to me and be grateful. Rose, rather insincerely, mumbled out, "Sorry," and was quiet for the rest of the time. She sat in the back seat, even when I offered her to sit in the front again. I even offered her ice cream, but she said no and would refuse to look at me. We got home and she did her work, a reading project she was supposed to finish in class that day, without me having to monitor her, but then didn't want to watch a movie with me. She was really quiet for the entire weekend. My ex blew up my phone on Tuesday saying she knows what you told Rose and that I'm a horrible father. My ex is honestly the reason that Rose acts entitled and still has meltdowns. What am I supposed to do? Stop disciplining Rose just because she has a tantrum? As I said, I make many sacrifices to help Rose. I drive Rose to and from school so she doesn't have to walk the 3 miles. I bought her toys and other things, and just last month I agreed to babysit her for 3 days when my ex's mother was in the hospital. My father was barely in my life. He wouldn't buy me things and would make me walk home. Rose isn't a baby anymore. She's old enough that she needs to learn to be grateful when people do things for her, because they don't have to, and her attitude won't work in the real world. I could have been gentler, but sometimes showing tough love is necessary to correct bad behavior when coddling won't fix it. AITA? First off, I've read the comments, so you don't need to keep blowing up my DMs calling me names. Second, you people saying I don't love Rose and should just give up custody are dead wrong. It's because I love her and want her to succeed in life that I set boundaries and correct her behavior. We still do plenty of good things together and even watch an hour of TV together every night she's at my house. YTA, you didn't have to have sex, get a lady pregnant, and have a child. Children don't need to be grateful they aren't abused or neglected. They need to be protected and nurtured in a loving environment, not one where you are almighty because you buy her things and do the most basic parental things. Don't you love this child? Act like it. Remember what it felt like when you were a child. Be the father you wish you had. YTA, she doesn't choose to not focus in class. WTF do you think ADHD stands for? Also, it sounds like you got butt hurt when she remembered something that you had forgotten. So you shit on your 9-year-old child. Sounds like you want to do the bare minimum and be congratulated for it. Mister, I pick her up so she doesn't have to walk 3 miles. My husband passed away about 2 years ago in a car accident. I am now finishing redoing my will. My late husband and I have 4 children together, ages 10, 8, 6, and 4. When my late husband and I created our will, our oldest had just been born, and we asked my husband's sister and her husband to take our kids if anything happened to both of us. Right when my husband passed, my sister-in-law made several comments about how she didn't think that if both my husband and I had passed, she could handle my 4 kids on top of her 3 kids. She has since made several other comments to that effect. Since I had to redo my will, I changed that my husband's and mine's best friends, who are married to each other, would take the kids. I told my sister-in-law, just in case, so she wouldn't be surprised. She was pissed and called me a bunch of names and said I was going against what my husband would have wanted. I reminded her that she said she wouldn't be able to handle that many kids. Plus, I told her we almost went with our friends in the first place, but only went with my husband's sister to stick with family. I'm an only child. I also told her that the kids would be more comfortable this way since our friends live 20 minutes away and she lives a 6-hour plane trip. So they see our friends so much more. She continued to cuss and yell at me and hung up on me. A short time later, my in-laws called to yell at me as well, said I was being unfair and a bitch. So, AITA, should I go back to my sister-in-law and her husband? To add, for all those asking, my late husband did have a good life insurance amount, but I already used 75% of it to pay off the house and put away enough into the kids' college funds. So they should be able to go to an undergrad degree from a public in-state university without taking out loans. Since my husband was killed in a car accident with a semi's fault, we got even larger payout from the semi company that I split 4 ways and put into a trust for each of my kids that they get when they're 25, unless it's for educational purposes. The college fund and the trusts are all managed by an independent company, and the guardian for the kids would not have any access to it. Since my late husband's family and I have never been close, and since I didn't feel like it was their business, I did not tell them what I did with the money. NTA, her reaction shows you made the right decision.